Did you know that only about 15% of women identify as naturally independent, valuing their solitude and freedom above societal expectations? These women are known as Sigma females, and they carry a powerful secret. But here's the question: why do so many people try to break them? And why do they always fail? Stay with me, because today we're uncovering 9 dark truths about how society tries to break Sigma females and why these attempts never succeed. Before we dive into the dark truths, let's define what a Sigma female really is. Sigma females are independent, highly self-aware, and prioritize their inner peace over fitting into traditional social roles. They are confident without needing validation from others, which sets them apart and makes them a topic of fascination, and, sometimes, a target. Society often mislabels them as difficult or aloof, but that's only because most don't understand their true nature. Now, let's dive into the 9 dark truths that reveal how people try and fail to break them. Dark truth number 1: the isolation game. Let's dive into the first dark truth that every Sigma female faces: the isolation game. Picture this. You're in a room full of people, maybe at work or a social gathering, and you can feel those sideways glances and whispered conversations. They're trying their oldest trick in the book: social isolation. You see, when people encounter a Sigma female, they often feel threatened by her self-assured nature and independent mindset. Their immediate response: create an invisible barrier around her. They'll accidentally forget to invite you to lunch meetings, create group chats without including you, or make plans loudly in front of you with no intention of extending an invitation. It's like being back in high school, but with adults playing the mean girls game. They believe that by making you feel like an outsider, you'll eventually break down and conform to their social norms. Some might even spread subtle rumors about you being difficult, antisocial, or thinking too highly of yourself. But here's where their plan spectacularly backfires, and this is the part I love the most. Sigma females aren't wired like typical social butterflies. While others panic at the thought of being left out, we actually find peace in selective solitude. It's like trying to punish a fish by throwing it in water. You see, Sigma females have this amazing superpower. We understand that quality connections trump quantity every single time. We're not interested in being part of every social circle or attending every office happy hour just to fit in. Instead of breaking us, this isolation game actually helps us filter out the noise. Think of it as a natural selection process. Those who try to exclude us inadvertently help us identify who's not worth our time and energy. While they're busy playing their exclusion games, we're focusing on our goals, nurturing meaningful relationships with like-minded individuals, and enjoying our own company. We're reading books that expand our minds, pursuing hobbies that fulfill us, and building empires while they're busy playing social politics. What these people don't understand is that Sigma females don't measure their worth by the number of party invitations they receive or how many workplace cliques accept them. Our peace comes from within. It's built on self-awareness, personal achievements, and carefully chosen relationships. We understand that being alone doesn't mean being lonely. In fact, many of us have discovered that our most productive and creative moments come during these periods of solitude. So the next time someone tries to play the isolation game with you, remember this: they're actually doing you a favor. They're helping you create the perfect environment for your personal growth and showing you exactly who doesn't deserve a seat at your table. Their attempt to break you through isolation is like trying to dim a star by cupping their hands around it. The light still shines through, and it only makes them look small in comparison. Remember, my fellow Sigma females, when they try to isolate you, stand tall in your solitude. Your ability to thrive independently is not your weakness, it's your superpower. Let them play their little games while you focus on building your empire, one peaceful, productive moment at a time. You'll love the next point. Don't miss it. Dark Truth 2. Criticism disguised as advice. Have you ever noticed how some people seem to offer advice, but it doesn't quite sit right with you? It sounds like they're trying to help, but deep down, you can sense there's something off. This is one of the most common ways people try to break Sigma females, through criticism disguised as advice. But what does this really mean, and why does it never work on a Sigma female? This kind of advice often comes from people who don't truly want to see a Sigma female succeed. Maybe they're intimidated by her confidence or uncomfortable with how she stands firm in her beliefs. They frame their words as supportive, but the real intention is to plant seeds of doubt. For example, you might hear things like, "Are you sure you want to do that? It might be too ambitious," or "I'm just worried that you're pushing yourself too hard." While these might sound like caring words, their hidden message is clear. "I don't think you can do it." Here's where the power of a Sigma female comes into play. Unlike those who seek validation from others, Sigma females are deeply self-assured. They have a strong sense of who they are and what they want, which means they can easily spot when advice is actually disguised negativity. Instead of allowing these comments to shake them, they filter out the true intent behind the words. A Sigma female knows that constructive feedback is specific, helpful, and uplifting, even when it's pointing out areas for improvement. But advice that drips with subtle doubt, she sees through it immediately. Now you might be wondering, how does she handle it? Here's the secret. She doesn't argue or over-explain. A Sigma female values her energy and chooses her battles wisely. When faced with hidden criticism, she often responds with a polite nod or a simple "thanks for your input," then moves forward. But she doesn't ignore it entirely. She takes a moment to evaluate whether there's anything useful buried within the comment. If there is, she'll use it to grow. If not, she discards it without a second thought. People who use disguised criticism aim to make a Sigma female question herself. They hope she'll second-guess her choices and stop pursuing her goals. But here's where they're wrong. Instead of breaking under doubt, she transforms it into motivation. To a Sigma female, every piece of subtle negativity is just another challenge. She doesn't crumble. She sharpens her focus and reinforces her self-belief. This is why attempts to undermine her with disguised advice never succeed. In fact, they often backfire, leaving those who tried to sow doubt feeling puzzled at her continued strength. If you've ever faced hidden criticism, share your story in the comments below. Let's remind each other of the strength you all carry. In the end, the Sigma female's resilience comes from knowing herself and refusing to let outside voices define her path. This is why disguised criticism, no matter how subtly delivered, can't touch her core. It only makes her more determined to stay true to herself and her journey. Dark truth number 3. The character assassination. Let's talk about the third but most vicious tactic people use against Sigma females: character assassination. When all their other attempts to break you have failed, when the isolation, guilt-tripping, and conformity pressure haven't worked, they pull out their final weapon. They try to destroy your reputation. Leans into camera with serious expression. Picture this. You're excelling at work, pursuing your passions, and living life on your terms. Suddenly, the whispers start. They label you as difficult for maintaining boundaries, aggressive for speaking directly, cold for prioritizing your goals, or problematic for questioning the status quo. It's like they're writing a fictional story about you, but forgetting that you're the main character of your own life. These character assassins are clever. They'll twist your strengths into supposed flaws. Your independence becomes inability to work with others. Your high standards become impossible to please. Your focus on goals becomes selfish ambition. They'll create narratives about you being hard to work with, always causing drama, or thinking you're better than everyone else. It's fascinating how they turn your refusal to participate in office politics into not being a team player. But here's where Sigma females truly shine. They understand that other people's narratives about them are more like badly written fan fiction than reality. You see, character assassination only works when you buy into their story. When you start questioning yourself, doubting your choices, or trying to defend yourself against every false accusation, that's when they win. The truth? Your character isn't a democracy. It's not determined by popular vote or public opinion. Your character is built through your actions, choices, and the impact you make in the world. While they're busy crafting stories about who they think you are, you're out there actually being who you are and doing what matters. Remember this: successful character assassination requires your cooperation. It requires you to believe their lies, to internalize their criticism, to doubt your path. But Sigma females, they understand that the loudest voices aren't always the truest ones. They know that sometimes being called difficult by the right people is actually a compliment. So when they try to assassinate your character, wear those misunderstood labels like badges of honor. Let them call you difficult. It means you have standards. Let them call you cold. It means you don't burn yourself to keep others warm. Let them call you problematic. It means you're challenging systems that need to be challenged. Stick around because truth number 4 and number 5 will blow your mind. Trust me, you won't believe what some people try to pull off. Dark truth number 4, the shame strategy. Now, let's uncover the 4th dark truth that every Sigma female encounters. Imagine being constantly bombarded with questions like, "Why aren't you married yet?" Zrania, "Don't you want kids before it's too late?" Zrania, or "Why can't you just be more normal?" Sound familiar? This is the shame strategy in action, and it's one of society's favorite weapons against Sigma females. Here's how it typically plays out. You're pursuing your dreams, maybe building your career, traveling solo, or choosing an unconventional lifestyle. Suddenly, everyone becomes an expert on how you should live your life. Family members give you concerned looks at gatherings. Friends send you links to dating apps you never asked for. And co-workers make passive-aggressive comments about how they could never be so selfish to focus solely on their careers. They'll use every opportunity to remind you that you're not following the normal path, as if normal was ever meant to be everyone's destination. The shame strategy is particularly sneaky because it often comes disguised as concern or well-meaning advice. "I'm just worried about you," they say, while subtly suggesting that your choices are somehow wrong or incomplete. They'll try to plant seeds of doubt in your mind, hoping these seeds will grow into full-blown insecurities. Some might even use religion, culture, or tradition as weapons, attempting to make you feel like you're betraying your background by choosing independence. But here's where it gets interesting, and this is what they absolutely hate. Sigma females have an emotional immunity to shame tactics. It's like trying to sell a fish an umbrella. We simply don't buy it. We understand that breaking from tradition isn't a flaw. It's often a necessary step toward authentic living. Our worth isn't measured by how well we fit into society's predetermined molds, but by how true we stay to ourselves and our vision. Engagement hook. But hold on to your seats, because what I'm about to reveal next will make these first 2 tactics look like child's play. In Dark Truth number 3 and number 4, we're going to expose the most manipulative and shocking strategies people use to try to break Sigma females. Trust me, once you understand these next tactics, you'll never look at certain relationships the same way again. These are the kinds of truths that will make you say, "Oh, so that's what they've been doing." Stay tuned, because this is where things get really interesting. The beauty of being a Sigma female is that we don't just survive these shame attempts, we thrive despite them. Every time someone tries to make us feel ashamed of our independence, they're actually confirming that we're on the right path. After all, if our choices weren't powerful, they wouldn't feel so threatened by them, would they? Dark Truth 5. Using gossip and rumors. Gossip. It's one of the oldest tactics used to bring someone down. In the world of strong, independent women, gossip and rumors are often aimed at making them question themselves or lose credibility. The intention is simple: to spread falsehoods and stir drama, hoping the target will react with insecurity or distress. But let me tell you, when it comes to Sigma females, these efforts fall flat. Why? Because Sigma females are unshakably secure in who they are. Let's break this down. Gossip is designed to create doubt and confusion, especially when it comes from people you once trusted or from the larger social circle. The idea is that hearing negative chatter about oneself, true or not, will lead to feelings of isolation or self-doubt. For many, this kind of tactic can be painful and distracting. But here's where Sigma females differ. They don't measure their worth based on what others say. Instead, they have a laser-sharp focus on their goals and values, which acts as a shield against negativity. Now, you might wonder why gossip even starts around such confident women. The answer lies in intimidation. When people see someone who's truly independent, unapologetically herself, and not reliant on external validation, it can spark jealousy and discomfort. To deal with this, some choose to gossip as a way to feel more powerful or in control. But there's a problem with this strategy. It underestimates the Sigma female's emotional strength. Sigma females know how to distinguish truth from noise. They understand that if someone is willing to believe baseless rumors, that person's opinion was never valuable to begin with. Instead of feeling threatened, a Sigma female remains composed and confident. She knows that actions speak louder than words. While others waste time spreading or listening to rumors, she's busy living her life and achieving her goals. But what about those moments when a rumor does reach her ears? How does she respond? Unlike those who might feel the need to jump into defense mode or confront everyone involved, the Sigma female takes a different approach. She doesn't engage in drama because she values her peace over conflict. Her typical response is silence or a smile, signaling that she won't be pulled into a game she never signed up for. To her, giving attention to baseless chatter only feeds it. By choosing not to react, she takes away its power. And here's the real reason gossip never breaks her. Sigma females are deeply anchored in self-awareness. They know the truth about themselves and don't need anyone else's approval to validate it. Rumors may float around, but they don't stick. It's like trying to throw mud on a polished surface. It slides right off, leaving no mark. This unshakable security makes it impossible for gossip to pierce their confidence. Stick around, because truth number 6 is going to blow your mind. Trust me, it's something every Sigma female needs to hear. Drop a flexed biceps in the comments if you're ready. Dark Truth 6. Doubting her ambitions. One of the most subtle yet powerful ways people try to undermine Sigma females is by questioning their ambitions. Have you ever set your sights on a big dream, only to hear someone say, "Are you sure you can handle that?" Or, "That sounds way too risky"? For most people, these comments can plant seeds of doubt, making them pause and reconsider. But for a Sigma female, these doubts are nothing more than background noise. You see, a Sigma female's ambitions don't come from a place of seeking approval or fitting into someone else's expectations. They come from within, fueled by her deep belief in herself and her vision. This is what makes doubting her goals such an ineffective tactic. When someone says her dreams are unrealistic or too ambitious, it doesn't slow her down. It actually drives her forward. Now, why do people question her ambitions in the first place? The reason often lies in their own insecurities or limited view of what's possible. When faced with someone who dares to dream big, they project their own fears onto her. Phrases like, "That's too ambitious," or "What if it fails?" reveal more about them than they do about her. But a Sigma female recognizes this. She knows that skepticism is inevitable when pursuing meaningful goals, and instead of letting it sway her, she uses it as a reminder of why her path is different and worth following. Here's what's important to understand. Sigma females don't seek comfort. They seek growth. They know that the most rewarding paths are often the hardest to walk, and that doubt, whether from others or sometimes even from within, is part of the process. This is why outside opinions don't derail them. If anything, these opinions validate that they're pushing beyond the ordinary, aiming for something extraordinary. To a Sigma female, hearing that her dreams are too big is almost like receiving confirmation that she's on the right track. So, what happens when people doubt her ambitions? Does she argue or try to convince them otherwise? She simply stays true to her course, proving her determination through action rather than words. Sigma females understand that results speak louder than explanations. The best response to doubt is to achieve what others said was impossible. Dark truth number 7. The conformity pressure. Let's dive deeper into something that every Sigma female has faced. The infamous conformity pressure. Those moments when someone pulls you aside, maybe a well-meaning friend, a family member, or a colleague, and starts with that oh-so-familiar phrase, "Have you ever thought about being a bit more approachable?" Rolls eyes dramatically. They'll tell you that your confidence is intimidating, that your direct communication style makes others uncomfortable, or that your ambitious goals are too much. They'll suggest wearing softer colors, speaking more gently, laughing at jokes you don't find funny, or pretending to be less knowledgeable to make others feel comfortable. It's like they're handing you a manual titled "How to Shrink Yourself to Make Others Feel Bigger." But here's what these conformity pushers don't understand. Your so-called intimidating presence is actually your authentic power radiating through. When you walk into a room with your head held high, when you speak your mind without sugarcoating your words, when you pursue your goals without apologizing, that's not something to tone down, that's something to amplify. Think about it. Has anyone ever changed the world by being appropriately pleasant? Did Marie Curie revolutionize science by worrying about being too ambitious? Did Frida Kahlo create masterpieces by painting more appropriately? The answer is a resounding no. These women, like you, understood that their perceived intensity was actually their superpower. The truth is, when people ask you to be more approachable, what they're really saying is, "Please make yourself smaller so I can feel bigger." But here's the plot twist. Your authenticity is magnetic precisely because it's unfiltered and real. Those who are meant to be in your orbit will be drawn to your genuine energy, while others might feel threatened by it. And guess what? That's perfectly okay. The conformity pressure isn't really about making you more approachable. It's about making you more controllable. Society has a way of trying to put strong women in neat little boxes, complete with a pretty bow of compliance on top. But Sigma females, they take those boxes and build empires with them. Remember this: every time someone suggests you tone it down, they're inadvertently pointing out exactly what makes you extraordinary. Your sharp intellect, your unwavering focus, your bold dreams, these aren't flaws to be corrected, they're features to be celebrated. When they say tone it down, take it as a sign to turn it up. So the next time someone tries to dim your light with the conformity pressure, smile knowingly. Let them be uncomfortable with your power. Let them squirm under the weight of your authenticity. Because at the end of the day, being magnetic isn't about making everyone comfortable. It's about attracting the right people who celebrate your true self, not despite your intensity, but because of it. That's the real power of a Sigma female, the ability to stand firm in her authenticity, even when the world is begging her to conform. Dark truth number 8. The manipulation maze. Let's dive into the fourth dark truth that Sigma females often face: the manipulation maze. If you've ever felt like someone was trying to turn your strengths into weaknesses, you're not alone. Those who feel threatened by your independence and determination will often resort to manipulation, attempting to twist your qualities into negative labels. They might say things like, "You're so independent, it's like you think you're better than everyone," or "Why are you so focused? You must not care about anyone else." This is their way of trying to undermine your confidence and make you doubt your abilities. By labeling your independence as arrogance and your focus as coldness, they aim to create a narrative that puts you in a negative light. But here's the kicker. Sigma females have an incredible radar for manipulation. We've been through enough to recognize when someone is trying to play mind games. While others might fall for these tactics, we see right through the smoke and mirrors. We know that our independence is not a flaw, it's a strength that allows us to carve our own paths and achieve our goals. The very qualities that make us Sigma females are the same ones that can intimidate those who rely on traditional norms and social expectations. When they attempt to manipulate us, they often fail to realize that we're not easily swayed by their dark truth. 9. Attempts to undermine accomplishments. Let's talk about one of the last and the most subtle ways people try to bring down a Sigma female: undermining her accomplishments. Imagine putting your heart and soul into a project, achieving something you're genuinely proud of, only for someone to brush it off with a casual, "It wasn't that impressive," or "Anyone could have done it." This tactic is used to make a Sigma female doubt her achievements and question her value. But here's the twist: it doesn't work. Why? Because a Sigma female's sense of worth isn't tied to the applause of others. Why do people feel the need to downplay her accomplishments in the first place? Often, it's driven by jealousy or discomfort. Some people feel threatened by seeing someone, especially a woman who walks her own path, succeed and shine. They fear that recognizing her strengths will diminish their own, so they resort to minimizing her efforts. But for a Sigma female, external opinions are secondary. She is proud of her work because she knows the effort, skill, and resilience it took to achieve it. One of the common strategies used to undermine achievements is making it sound as if they're not unique or significant. Phrases like, "That's good, but it's not a big deal," or "I've seen people do that before," are thrown around as if they carry weight. The intention here is clear: to chip away at her confidence and make her seek validation. But here's where this tactic falls short. Sigma females don't achieve for recognition. They do it for themselves. Their drive comes from within, rooted in their personal goals and vision. Now, let's get into why these undermining tactics never work. A Sigma female recognizes that praise and criticism are two sides of the same coin. They're both external feedback. While it's nice to be acknowledged, she doesn't rely on it to feel validated. Instead, she measures success through her own lens. She asks herself, "Did I grow from this experience? And did I give it my best effort?" If the answer is yes, no amount of belittling can make her question the value of her work. But how does a Sigma female handle these attempts to downplay her accomplishments? Does she argue or confront the naysayers? Not usually. She knows that getting defensive only gives power to those who try to undermine her. Instead, she chooses to keep moving forward, letting her continued success and actions speak for themselves. The truth is, a Sigma female's journey is about self-fulfillment, not approval. By staying true to this, she maintains her confidence and doesn't waste energy trying to convince others of her worth. Finally, people often make the mistake of underestimating a Sigma female's resilience. They assume that pushing her to her limits will make her break. But the opposite happens. She finds strength in challenges and uses them as stepping stones to become even more unbreakable. Through it all, Sigma females remain resilient because of one powerful reason: their unshakable self-awareness. They know who they are and don't let outside opinions redefine them. This is why, no matter what tactics are used against them, they emerge stronger, wiser, and more determined. Let me know in the comments if any of these truths resonated with you, or if you have your own experiences to share. And don't forget to check out our other videos for more insights into understanding and embracing your Sigma power.